All right, let's talk about learning. We're going to crack the code on one of the most basic things we do as humans. But what if I told you the secret isn't just about studying harder? What if it's about setting your brain up for success before you even start? We're about to dive into this really powerful research-backed technique that can totally change how you absorb any new topic. You know that feeling, right? You sit through a class, you read a whole chapter, and then an hour later, poof, almost nothing has stuck. It's so frustrating. It feels like you're just pouring water into a leaky bucket. So why does our brain do that sometimes? Why does it just refuse to cooperate? Okay, so a huge part of the answer is something we can call the blank slate problem. See, our brains just aren't built to take in new information in a total vacuum. Without any context, without a hook or anything to connect it to, yeah, those new facts just kind of drift away. So what's the solution? Well, it's not starting with a blank slate. Actually, it's the total opposite. The secret here is to build a kind of mental scaffold before you even start learning. We have to prep our brain, get it ready by waking up what we already know. That way, we're creating a structure for all the new stuff to latch onto. The fancy term for this whole process is previewing. And honestly, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's basically a bunch of strategies designed to connect the new stuff you're about to learn with the old stuff that's already rattling around in your head. It's kind of like giving your brain a little heads up, like, hey, get ready, something important and relevant is coming your way. You know that aha moment? That feeling when a light bulb just flicks on in your head? That's the goal here. That's the feeling of a new idea successfully clicking into place with an old one. And these connections, they're the foundation of your learning scaffold. The stronger they are, the more you're going to remember and actually understand. Now, teachers and educators have been working on this skill for ages, and they've come up with some pretty incredible techniques to make it happen. So let's check out 3 of these, let's call them superpowers. 3 really powerful previewing strategies you can start using like right now. Okay, first up, we've got what are called informational hooks. The goal here is super simple. Just grab your own attention. Before you dive into all the dense, heavy material, you start with something that sparks some real curiosity, something that makes you want to know more. And listen, these hooks aren't just for kicks. A really intriguing story, a shocking statistic, maybe a quick video clip, it literally primes your brain. It's telling your memory systems, hey, pay attention, this is going to be interesting, and that makes you way more receptive to all the details that are about to follow. All right, so once your curiosity is officially hooked, the next step is to get organized. And our second strategy is this amazingly simple but super effective tool for doing just that. It's called the KWL chart. It's basically a way to consciously map out your thoughts before, during, and after you learn something new. So here's how it works. Before you even start, you fill out the first 2 columns. First K, that stands for everything you already know about the topic. Then W, that's for what you want to know. What are your questions? Just doing that activates what you already know and kind of gives you a mission. Then, after the lesson, you fill in the L column for what you learned, and boom, you can instantly see how far you've come. Okay, our final example is a little more creative. It's called a word splash. And this is a really cool way to start engaging with the key words of a new subject before you even really know what they all mean. So, imagine I just showed you a dozen key terms from a brand new topic. Your job isn't to define them. Instead, it's to just sort them into categories that make sense to you. This forces you to start looking for patterns, to guess at how they might be related, and to try and predict what the whole topic is even about. You're actively building that mental scaffold before the formal lesson is even started. Pretty clever, right? So, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds nice, but does it actually work? Is there any real science behind this whole setup? Well, the answer is a big, resounding yes. And this is the crucial part. This isn't just some neat little idea. It's a proven one. We're talking decades of educational research, tons of studies that all confirm the same thing. Using these previewing techniques leads to real, measurable boosts in how much students achieve and how deeply they understand something. And believe me, the 3 strategies we just talked about, they're just the tip of the iceberg. The research this whole explainer is based on identifies at least 13 different previewing methods. Everything from just skimming and asking questions to using things called anticipation guides. But the core idea is always the same. You've got to prepare the mind for learning. So the big question is, how can you take these teacher superpowers and actually apply them to your own life? You know, whether you're reading a book, watching a documentary, or maybe taking a new online course. Well, it really comes down to 3 simple steps you can take before you tackle anything new. First, just stop and consciously ask yourself, Okay, what do I already know about this? Second, skim the material. Just look at the titles, the headings, any bold words, just to get the lay of the land. And third, make a prediction. Take a wild guess at what you think the main points are going to be. That simple three-step routine, that's what builds that all-important scaffold for your brain. So in the end, learning really isn't about having a blank slate at all. It's about being a good architect. It's about building a solid foundation from what you already know so that every single new piece of knowledge has a perfect place to go. So the only question left is, now that you know the secret, what are you going to build next?